quiet.
Welcome to the PowerTrip Podcast. We're your hosts,
Charmaine.
and Saquon.
Hey guys, welcome back.
What's good, people? What's good?
Welcome back. Oh goodness. We hope that you guys are all doing well. We've been doing some lives these last few weeks, so you could have seen us there.
Yes,
I know.
You guys been catching up with us.
Yeah. And I know we haven't been recording the podcast, but we are BACK. Okay. So we are back and we're going to just jump into it, start off on just like a recap of where things are now. The last actual podcast we did, we were telling you about our wedding planning and how excited we were to get married. And our wedding date was April 11th. And unfortunately, with everything going on with the coronavirus and the pandemic going on, we had to postpone our wedding to August 1st of this year. So right now, it's still kind of up in the air pretty much.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're paying attention to the news, they're talking about a second wave.
Possibly,
and,
yeah.
With a possible second wave coming around, I doubt that people want to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they don't want to travel and the virus is still running rampant, people aren't going to want to travel.
Yeah.
And it might put a damper on the amount of people, I guess, that would be
right, because we had planned for 200 people to be at our wedding, and literally it was like March, and we had like all of our reserved rooms were getting booked out. We had to add more rooms to our group block that we had.
Yeah.
So it was like we had a lot of people coming and a lot of people also from out of state, and most of our family are in New York and on the East Coast, Atlanta, DC. So we have people all over who were coming out.
We were pretty close to hitting our 200 guest limit.
Yeah, we were. And so now, like he's saying, even if things kind of calm down, people are still going to be wary about traveling. And they're still going to be wary about large groups being together. So we don't want the atmosphere of our wedding to be what? We don't want the atmosphere of our wedding to be like with people, like the thoughts on people's mind being cautious of, ooh, is this thing coming back? Is this going to spark, a second wave or anything like that?
Or we don't want to still be in that huge space with about 50 people.
That too, because it's like, we already invested a lot of money into, our wedding, because pretty much everything was literally like planned and paid for. Like we were just ready for that day to happen.
Right.
And then, all of this kind of like just turned up and changed every plan that we had. So we're not sure what's going to happen yet. We're staying, hopeful, and we're going to see what happens. We will be married before the end of this year, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna see what happens as far as August is concerned. We'll keep you guys posted. We pray that you guys are all being safe and your loved ones are all healthy and just, being smart and protecting yourself.
That's a big thing. Just make smart decisions.
Yeah. I don't know why you are so tickled this right now. What?
I'm just thinking about the smart decisions. No.
And you guys watch, it was our live, I think it's Love is in the St. Hilaire live that we did. We talk about that power trip where he said something up to me about I need to be smart, and
I told her made smart decisions and she got defensive.
Yeah, so go watch that one. We'll put the card in the up there.
Yeah, check that out.
Yes.
But no, really, make smart decisions, because my opinion is the reopening of the economy, the way that they're doing it, I don't necessarily think that it's a smart decision. And I know that a lot of us are going to still have to partake in, I guess, the what will you call it? The not the festivities, but
like everyday life.
The everyday life.
The grocery store.
Yeah, we have to be part of it. So still make smart decisions as if, we are still going through this. don't
yeah,
forget.
we are.
Yeah, but I think people are gonna forget.
Yeah,
over
it may
time.
not be in like the forefront of people's mind once things start reopening and it kind of feels like a semi-normal.
Yeah.
Then people may kind of let down their guards a little bit more.
Right.
So I do agree with that, and I think that I agree. I do think that some states are opening up a little bit quicker than we should be.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, everything is kind of up in the air right now. This is something new for us all. So, I mean, the country has had pandemics in the past, but as far as it being like a new strain of a virus that we don't have set treatments for, or, they're attempting to make vaccinations for, this is like a new situation. So it's kind of hard to time when the best time is to reopen everything.
Yeah.
So I get that, everyone's doing the best that they can, and it's a different situation state by state. Here in Arizona, we haven't gotten as badly hit with the virus as someplace like New York, for example. So I understand why we would open up a little quicker than New York would. But I just think that, in order for any state to open up safely, of course, like testing needs to be done. Because you're never going to be able to handle everything if it's
testing as far as what?
Whether people have it or not, like individual testing. But yeah, we won't go on a rampage with that one because we could talk about that forever.
I mean, we got a little health segment anyway, so just stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But as far as the podcast, let's say our game night, that's been hitting for some views. But
so we had a game night. We went live. Well, no, we didn't go live for that one. But we had a Zoom game night with our family.
The same night as
friends.
the Love is in the Same Hill podcast.
Oh yeah, so we did go live. Yeah, so we did have a game night, and it was so much fun, and we're gonna do more. So stay tuned for that. But what were you saying with it, babe?
I was just saying that it was hitting for some views. That's something that we're gonna get back into. We plan to do it probably once a month.
Yeah, we're gonna start with monthly. Well, we're gonna start with monthly, just to fill it out and kind of get into like a routine of things, because our goal is to be consistent. We know we said that probably the last time we talked to you, but seriously, like our goal is to be. We need y'all to help us stay on track. Our goal is to be. Our goal is to be consistent so that, we just want to kind of get into like a routine of saying, okay, we know every third week of the month, we're going to do a game night, and you guys know to expect it. And we'll have different themes to it. It's going to be fun. So stay tuned for those and join us on those. We hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah, so go ahead and go check out our game night that we have put up, the live stream on Zoom. And
it's on YouTube. That's on our YouTube.
Yeah, it's on our YouTube. And also go check out our hiking video that we posted about a couple weeks ago. We went out to South Mountain and we took Kaiser, our dog, with us. And it was cool. We seen a coyote. And it was about a 4-mile hike. It was pretty cool though. We got to see good views and
it was fun. I had a good time. Your girl was tired.
It was
treacherous. Yeah, it wasn't.
It was towards the end. It was getting there. I will say that.
I agree, because that was steep at the end. Yeah. But I will say, because we haven't done a hike like that in a long while.
Yeah.
So jumping back out into it and hiking for 3 hours was a lot.
Yeah.
But
Would
we made it through.
We ever did a hike like that?
Not that long.
Yeah.
But we've done more difficult hikes, I'll say. But we just haven't done that duration of a hike.
Yeah.
So it was longer in miles than a hike that we've done in the past.
And it was our first time bringing Kaiser with us on a hike, I believe.
That intense. We took him to like Papago Park. Or Papago?
We did.
Papago Park. But
right. But yeah, go check out that video.
Yes.
Join us on that journey. We'll be posting more videos on some upcoming hikes as well. Let's hop up into the main topic of this podcast. And that would be joint bank accounts.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun.
Joint bank accounts.
Yes.
It's something that we just got into. We just opened a couple bank accounts. which we're going to get into. But we're going to start off, I guess, with the benefits of a joint bank account.
All righty.
What is your
What's
take
my
on
take on it?
Yeah.
So I think that having a joint bank account with your partner is very beneficial because, for one, I feel like when you guys, like, depending on how you handle finances, it can be beneficial because if you share bills, like let's say you guys go 50-50 with bills. So if I have to constantly send you money or you have to constantly send me money, it's easier to have one account where we can just say, hey, we know this account is for our bills. We're going to pay the bills with this money that we have set aside. I feel like it helps with convenience.
Yeah, that's true.
And then also, I feel like when, like for us, for example, we have a lot of financial goals that we set together. And we have just a lot of future goals for ourselves, at trips we want to take, and savings, investments, a lot of things that we talk about together.
Mhm.
So I feel like having a joint bank account allows us to save for those goals, set those goals, and achieve those goals easier as well because our eyes are both on the same account and we can see what's going on at the same time.
Transparency.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's another thing actually I'll add is transparency. As but I've heard. So I do feel like it helps with, I'll say trust. He can keep
I mean, I guess transparency
and trust. Yeah, exactly. So also, like, if you have a shared bank account, that also, I guess, would say. If you have a shared bank account, it also will increase your trust in your partner because it's like, what are you hiding? Like, we have all of our expenses and things right here in front of our faces. So for me, I think it's very beneficial. There are some drawbacks to it, but I'm gonna let my baby say what his benefits are right
I mean,
now.
for the most part, I think about the same benefits. You kind of stole one of mine there, but
we're a team, so what's yours is mine.
Yeah, she's been on this for a while. But anyway, I think the huge benefit for me is the ease and not having to transfer back and forth. And when it comes down to goals and growth, I mean, honestly, it makes it easier. I mean, down to, and I guess not being greedy, but for APY, if we're going to get an APY, why be split when we could get more together?
True. And we'll go into what an APY means a little bit later when we talk about things we look for with when opening a bank account.
Yeah. And the ease and transparency and everything like that. It's a lot of things that I would like you to just be on board and already know that you may question, but why do you have to question me? You can figure out the answer yourself. It's just transparency. I'm serious.
Whoa.
But it'll make you feel like you still have that same equal control. If that makes sense.
The key. It's like we're equal partners in this relationship. We both have access to this account. I don't have to ask you for money. You don't have to ask me for money. Like, yes, we communicate on how we're spending.
Correct.
But everything is right here. We both have access to the same pot. So it does bring that equal balance within the relationship as well.
And I guess for some people, let's say if you have a spender, that sometimes I know a lot of people that overdraft on their accounts. So let's say you have one of those in a relationship. That joint account may not have to be something that they necessarily spend for their personal expenses out of. And we'll get into that because that's kind of one of my big things about it.
Yeah. So, well, let's go into then the negatives to having a joint account.
Okay.
Because that was a good part that you brought up. Like that, some people in a relationship are going to be spenders, and then you have people who really enjoy saving in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are some like drawbacks or reasons why people wouldn't get a joint bank account?
Okay. So for us, right, it will create security. But that same way that it will create security, it can create dysfunction for someone else.
Right.
Let's say you have a spender on that account that is not moving on the same page as you are. let's say the family finances are in this joint account. This spender spent their last dollar and now they're digging into the joint account. That's a no because now it affects the family, it affects everyone, you know. So that's one of the cons. Other than that, I mean, me personally, I can't really see a con on it.
So I would say for another disadvantage is for people who want that independence. So some people they don't want to have to like share everything. They want to feel like they have that autonomy to where this is mine, this is yours. They don't look at it like this is ours. Yeah. So for those type of people, it also wouldn't be advantageous for them to get a joint account because in that sense, it's like, no, what's in here is ours. So if you make more than me, it doesn't matter because once it's together, this is ours. So that's why I think also most people who get married, it seems like a better situation for a married couple to have a joint bank account rather than if you're just dating. Because, you know, in marriage, you're making that commitment. Granted, you know, things happen and not everybody values marriage the same. But when you're married, it's like you become one. So it's like we're two wholes that become one unit now. So when we have this account and we have money, it's like it doesn't matter if I'm a stay-at-home mom. The money that you make is ours.
You're gonna have your own card to it.
Exactly.
With the same limitations as I do. So.
And some people may not look at it like that though. Some people may feel like, no, sugar. I work for this. I'll give you a little allowance. But this ain't, you know, so those type of people, it would not be good for.
No.
And, you know, and that if that works for your relationship, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to just know yourself, know your partner, and trust your partner that if we agree, if we make a budget and say, this is how much we're spending on this goes for this, and you have to trust that they're going to follow that budget and not, like you said, if you have a spender or somebody with like a gambling problem or, you know, someone who's just not financially savvy and is tempted by all that money there, then it wouldn't be a good option for you because that's just going to cause more turmoil within your relationship rather than bring you guys together. It's going to cause dysfunction, like you said. So,
and with that being said, it's by no means saying to close your personal bank account. Keep it open, you know, because a con to only having a joint bank account would be you can't even surprise anybody.
Oh yeah, that's another con.
You can't surprise people when it'll be difficult, you know, to explain why. Well, not even it will be difficult. It's because you know I could trick her every here and there, but it's like if let's say you want to buy a gift that's $250, right? That's like a red flag.
Right, because also real quick, out in there. With your partner, there's also like a number that you guys can set for each other to say, especially when you have a joint account, if we're going to spend over this amount, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So like he's saying, if let's say your amount is $250, so we say if we're going to spend more than $250, let's just talk, check in, make sure it's cool. It's not necessarily asking for permission, but just make sure it's cool as far as making sure our finances and our goals are set in order before we do this move, before we make this purchase.
Yeah, but remember, if you want to surprise somebody and obviously the gift is above your limit,
right?
There's no sneaking.
Yeah. So the way that we are going to create our joint bank account is pretty much everything goes into the joint bank account, and then we give ourselves an allowance.
Yeah, we pay ourselves from
the joint bank account. Yeah. So that way, it's like you still have your individual money to enjoy yourself with, like little things that he may be interested in that doesn't really, it's not an us thing, it's more of just a him thing. He has money to where he can just go do that and it doesn't affect our, joint bank account.
Yeah, and
Same thing for me.
Also anything outside of our budget. So I look at it like, let's say we've paid for everything that we needed to out of our joint bank account. Yeah, going out to dinner is still an expense for both of us.
It's still on the budget. Restaurants, dining. Yeah, that's on the budget. But like, let's say, okay, that is on the budget. But let's say like you wanted to just go grab like a snack or something.
Yeah, for both of us still. If I wanted to go get a little snack or I ran into the store and I just say, hey, you want a snack really quick? That would come out of my personal expenses. That wouldn't come out of our joint bank account. And my personal belief is those type of expenses don't need to, I guess, necessarily affect the balance in that joint bank account.
Yeah. And I think the most important thing would be having a budget.
Yeah.
Having a budget, being open and honest. You guys need to have like, and we're going to go in depth about like budgeting and how to create a budget to stick with and I guess to create for you and your partner. But having a budget is the biggest thing because we can have a grocery budget together. We can have an entertainment budget together. So that's like the movies, amusement parks, things like that. So we can have those things. And then even though it's kind of like it's still a budget. So our budget is our allowance as well.
Exactly.
So it's like we send that to ourselves and we can spend it on whatever we please, but it's still part of our budget. So, like when you do a budget, another important thing is like you should know where every dollar is going in your budget. So, like I said, we'll go into that a little bit deeper. We don't want to,
give a whole
run
episode right there.
Yes, but
that'll be our next episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All
right. And write down in the comments if if you already have a joint account with your partner. If you're for it, if you're against it, just let us know what your thoughts are on it. I'm really interested to see other people's perspectives. And some people, it may have worked for, they tried it, and it may have not worked for. So I'd just like to hear your experience.
Yeah. So in the midst of learning about joint bank accounts and us figuring out that we eventually wanted to get into it, we researched different type of bank accounts and cash management accounts to see which ones fit us the best.
Right.
And would you like to tell them parts of our criteria?
Sure. So, a few things that we really wanted to make sure that the bank that we were going to open up an account with had, we wanted to make sure they were FDIC insured. So pretty much that just means like the money that you put in the bank, they have insurance. So God forbid anything happen, you will get at least, most banks have it up to $250,000. So you would make sure you would get that money back. That money is insured and protective no matter what. And we found bank accounts that have a higher FDIC insurance policy too, which we'll go in detail with later. Another thing that we wanted to make sure the bank account had was no monthly maintenance fees. So that's a thing that's kind of really outdated, but banks like, Bank of America and Chase, they still have those. But there's a ton of banks, especially online banks, that don't have any monthly maintenance fees. And another thing is no minimum balance. So no matter how much money you have in your account, you're not going to be charged a fee. So most banks, like I was saying, Bank of America and Chase, they'll have the maintenance fee. You can avoid it by like either having $500 in your account or by depositing a certain amount each month. But to us, we wanted to just make sure there were no fees involved because for what? Okay. Like I'm not paying. Yeah.
I'm not paying you to hold my money.
Yeah. Because it benefits them to have our money in their accounts. Exactly. So yeah, we wanted to make sure we didn't have that.
Yeah. Some other requirements we had were no overdraft fees. Not that we intend on ever overdrafting.
Right.
Oh, that was cool.
I know, we're cute.
But not that we ever intend on overdrafting, but I mean, I guess for some people life gets hard, and if that ever came down to anyone, I mean, I don't believe that they should be charged for that. Yeah.
Or if something like an accident happens or identity theft or anything can happen to where like someone steals your money or somebody overcharged you accidentally and you overdraft, don't charge me. Like,
yeah, no, we need to
and there's a lot of
that, get that out of here.
Yeah. So that's something we also look for.
So if you're getting charged an overdraft fee, keep listening. Another one was providing a debit card with no ATM fees.
Yeah.
So I know people have experienced possibly being in a 7-Eleven or let's say a Walgreens, and it's not the bank's ATM machine. And you put your card in there and it'll say what, $4.99, $3.99.
They charge you a fee.
Yeah, didn't you tell me about a $7.99 recently?
Yes, there is a place that charges
That's
$7.
ridiculous, you know. So we wanted an account that has reimbursement on all of those fees.
ATM fees, yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying to get charged for any ATM fees, and it's reimbursed, so you get charged. But these banks have a limit on. Well, some are unlimited, and some have limits on how many of those transactions you can make before they say, nah, no more reimbursement. So that was another. And the last was online bill pay. Online bill pay is a big one for us because, I mean, we're living together. We have goals of starting a family. And not only that, it helps you stay on track with your bills and your goals and things like that. It kind of makes everything much easier and brings convenience to your life. What were some other things that we had? Some requirements.
So we also
Why are you laughing?
Good. Why you look at me like that?
You just looking at me with
whatever. So we also wanted to make sure that checks were provided.
Yeah.
Granted, checks aren't as in use as they were back in the day, but some people still require checks. And sometimes you can do checks. Like if you pay for something online with a check, then you can skip some of the like administration fees. So having checks was something that wasn't mandatory, but we preferred. Free checks was not mandatory, but something we preferred. Yeah. And then also we wanted a checking account that would either have cash back or a APY. APY stands for annual percentage yield. And that's basically like interest that you get back on your account depending on how much money is in your account. So basically you get paid for having your money sitting in an account. And that's like unheard of for the typical standard checking accounts.
Yeah.
So that was something that we looked for. Unfortunately, right now, a lot of the APYs are lower than what they typically are just because we're going through a pandemic and the feds also decreased the interest rate. So right now they're lower, but still you're getting something when typically you get nothing. And then also there's a lot of cashback deals that you can get from some of the checking accounts. So that was something that we wanted to make sure we got that benefit from as well. And then we also wanted to make sure that we could deposit cash into the account there because a lot of the accounts we looked at are online based. We wanted to make sure that if we had cash on hand, we were able to deposit that into our account. And then lastly, something that was mandatory for us was that it had mobile check depositing. So I do still get paid by check, and being able to not, because it's an online bank, being able to just take the picture of the check and have it deposited into my account was important for us.
Yeah. So those were our requirements.
Yeah.
There was no way you were getting past those things. But some wants that we really wanted to have were financial resources for people that would help us learn
financial literacy.
Yeah, learn financial literacy, help us with planning, and help us reach our goals.
Right.
You know, someone that could advise us on things that we don't know. That was one thing. Another thing was no foreign transaction fees. So we do plan on traveling, and we'll eventually have a traveling page that you guys can check out. But we do plan on traveling internationally. So one thing we don't want to, I guess, come across is foreign transaction fees. And I mean, depending on how much you do, you know, while you're outside of the country, I mean, nobody wants to rack up an extra bill while they're there. Right. So that's a want. And the last one that
you knew I was gonna say something. Go ahead.
The last one that we wanted was free debit card replacement.
Yeah.
A lot of people lose their debit card. I mean, if you may travel, People lose them in amusement parks. Anyway, I mean, shoot, I've lost it in my pocket, I guess, but
And found it. You gotta get a new one?
Yeah.
Oh, so he ain't lose it in his pocket then. Who knows where it was? It maybe fell out of his pocket.
Some type of
but
way.
It wasn't lost.
But yeah, it shit happens. So this
is a non-vulgar channel.
Y'all heard the word before. But yeah, things happen. So
yeah.
No, but for real, things happen and you shouldn't be penalized for accident. So
that was a want. Yeah. It wasn't necessary, but it was nice to see that some accounts offered it. So it was a desire.
Definitely.
Yes. Alrighty. So based off of our needs and wants, we did narrow it down to, what was it, 5?
Yes, 5 banks.
5 banks. So you want to start off or?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's go. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh my gosh, he crazy.
So number 5 on our list was Ally Financial. And Ally Financial, they had some perks that we liked. One thing that they had was free cashier checks. I mean, I know people probably don't really care about cashier checks too much, but in our lifetime, we've come across needing them for things like moving into apartments and I guess certain type of payments. You may need them, and they did advertise that, so I was like, okay, that's a cool benefit. Another benefit that they had that many banks didn't have was the Zelle transfers. They advertised that as well. I like the Zelle transfers because Zelle is linked to a lot of major banks. And even if you choose to venture off into any of these other banks, maybe your friends and your family may have those major banks that you may want to transfer them money right away. Something that doesn't take 7 to 10 business days. So I thought that was a plus. Would you like to tell them what they left? Or you would like me to continue?
I could tell what they left.
Okay.
So one thing that Ally Bank did have that we didn't really like was they did have a $25 overdraft fee. And they also had a $10 excessive transaction fee, which for a checking account, I felt was weird because you should be able to spend how you want to spend.
As much as you want.
Yeah, so we didn't like that they had the $10 excessive transaction fee.
So number 4 on the list is
Capital One 360. So this was a really great bank. Things that we liked about it is they had a 0.20% APY.
Really good.
So yeah, that's pretty good right now. It was higher, but like I said, since things kind of changed, everything dropped down. But still, a 0.20% is really good.
On a checking account.
Exactly. And then another great thing that they had was that you could assign a beneficiary to your account. So, you never want to be in the unfortunate position to where one of your loved one passes away, your spouse, and you don't know any passwords, you don't have any access to their account. Let's say you chose not to do the joint account. Well, this way, with the beneficiary, if you do pass away, they will get access to your account. They won't have to worry about that because you can assign that. So that was something that we thought was really nice.
Yeah.
You talk about the lack.
The lack. What Capital One 360 lacked for us was the fact that they had I think it was the locations, they were scarce on locations. And basically, if you ever needed to withdraw cash from a location or anything like that, you would be unable to. If I'm correct.
So yeah, you can withdraw cash from a Capital One bank, which
is
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also the ATMs, you could only use the Capital One ATMs.
Yeah.
And there's not many.
Exactly.
Out here.
So that just kind of wiped that out for us.
Yeah.
All of those, they do have some really great benefits.
Yeah, yeah. These are all still really great accounts who met most of our needs.
Yeah,
That's how we kind of boiled it down to these.
exactly. But then you got number 3, Toss Swap.
Yes, and that's a money management account or a brokerage account. And a brokerage account is just an account where you can trade stocks, bonds, ETFs, things of that nature. So you can invest on it. But they also offer money management where you can still get a debit card from them, and they have some really great benefits. So go ahead.
What we liked about it was the fact that they didn't have any foreign transaction fees on
Mm-hmm.
ATMs, and that was beautiful. Like we said, we plan on traveling.
Mm-hmm. That is
I mean, it was though, but we plan on traveling, so that we don't ever wish for something like that to be
something we have to worry about when we travel.
pretty much. Another thing that we like was Charles Schwab assigns a personal advisor to your account. I thought that was cool. I personally really, really like that because I like to have someone that I could talk to and grow with, um, that understands my goals and what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And I personally don't even like to keep talking about my personal finances with too many people. So if they could assign me one person, I think that's really, really cool.
Right.
What were their likes?
So one thing that they did lack for us is that you have to have your checking account connected to the brokerage account or your money management account connected to the brokerage account.
Mm-hmm.
Which for us we have 3 already brokerage accounts. So we just didn't want to necessarily open another one, and because it was like a must, it kind of just turned us off from Charles Schwab. But we're not saying it's a bad option to go with. It just wasn't for us.
Yeah. So number 2 on our list, which is really like a number 1, but it's still number 2.
So those are the 3 we didn't go with. The next 2 we're going to talk about are the ones we did go with.
Yeah, we did go with these 2, but we still ranked them in a way.
Yeah.
So number 2, which we still went with, was Discover.
Mm-hmm.
Bund, what did you love about Discover? Because I know you love Discover. It was your main pick. What did you love about Discover? No.
Wait, they had your main pick.
No, it was not. Discover?
Yes. SoFi was my main pick, and Discover was your main pick. You crazy.
She wanted us the most. So you know what? I'm gonna let her talk about SoFi because she about to sit here and act like she was so in love with SoFi. But anyway,
man. Funny kid.
Discover, to start off, a lot of these banks are online, and there may come time where you need to call them for some type of customer service. And Discover is very good with customer service. They have excellent customer service. From what we read in reviews.
When we called, they said they had 24/7.
Yes, and they were very helpful because we did open an account and we ran into a small issue, and they took care of that right away, immediately. Like it was smooth.
Very smooth.
Yeah, it was very smooth. Yeah, it's very rare to actually have those type of interactions with customer service people. So they're very good on that. They also had a 1% cash back up to $3,000 per month. So that was really good as well because others have cash back, but they have a lower limit.
Yeah, and to clarify, it's 1% on $3,000.
Correct. Correct. So they had that. They had the free replacement on the debit card, which a lot of other banks have. Hopefully, they have the debit card freeze just in case you ever lost your debit card.
Yeah, you could freeze it from your mobile app. So if you lost it, you don't have to worry about anyone spending money on it.
Correct. And the last thing was Discover also has an excellent savings account. Their savings account has a high APY. I'm thinking right now it's about a 1.4%. Last time we checked.
1.40.
Yeah, 1.40. That's pretty good for a savings account right now. And we've been looking around for a lot of banks with a good APY, and that's pretty good right now for a savings account, which we're still thinking about possibly going with savings.
Yeah.
So let's get in. Well, were there cons to Discover at all? That, you know what? There are cons to Discover. We didn't write them down, but the cons to Discover would be the fact that when we opened the account, what we automatically did was we transferred money to the account. And we dislike the fact that it takes so long to transfer money into the account.
Listen, it took actually, it still didn't even get in there.
Yeah.
So it takes about 7 business days.
Yeah, it's about 7 business days
for the money to clear.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
Ridiculous. And we did find out they have Zelle as well.
They have Zelle, but it's been difficult for us to get the Zelle set up, and I'm hoping that it's because we don't have money in the account yet.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping. So that would be the cons to it, is the time of that transfer, the length of that transfer. I wasn't feeling that, but
there was a con though. I don't know why it was not there. But so one of the cons where Discover isn't accepted everywhere internationally.
That was it.
So that was a limitation, and that's what kind of made us think about opening another account also, which is our number one.
And
whatever.
We opened the next account that she's going to talk about, and the transfer speed was actually pretty quicker. I wouldn't say all of that because it doesn't
compared to Discover, it was.
Yes, it did knock them out though. So, honey.
Yes, darling.
Get into number one.
All right. So number one, our top dog, diggity, is SoFi Money. So SoFi Money is actually a cash management account. So it's not an actual banking account. And SoFi Money is typically, they actually give out loans. So student loans, personal loans. So some people may have loans from SoFi. But some great things that we loved about SoFi Money is they do have an APY of 0.20% right now. Prior to all of this foolishness, it was at 2.4%.
They were actually one of the highest.
Boom. And that is that is not a savings account, okay? Uh-oh. We were having a little too much fun. Okay, there we go. We're back. All right. So another thing, SoFi, they also, on top of the APY, have cash back. So they have 5% cash back, but it's up to $100 spent per month. And another thing we ended up finding out about Discover is that their cash back isn't for bill pay. So you can't, whatever bills you pay, you will not get cash back on.
Yeah, but we have an idea.
We don't know. We have to do some more research. We're going to come back.
Yeah.
When we go over the budget and stuff, we'll probably come back and update you.
Test a few things.
But SoFi had everything that we love. They also have within your account, you can set up what are called mini vaults. And so if we have different savings goals, we can have our emergency fund over here in a vault. And it's all the same account. You can have your vacation fund here, but it's nice because you have like your money in your, like the main account. It's all connected, but it's like mini banks within one account. So you have your main money where like when you spend, that's where the money will come out. What's in your vault doesn't come out. So yeah, you can touch it. You can transfer it and everything.
But the debit card doesn't touch it.
Right, exactly. So you can, that's really great. We love that because it helps you with your savings goals. It makes it like, okay, I know my goal is to do my savings account, start up with $1,000 emergency fund. I know good and darn well all that money that's in there, when I swipe, whatever's here, I'm not messing with that. So that's something that we really love from SoFi Management. We also really like that they use MasterCard for their main card.
Yeah.
And the reason we like that is because there's a lot of benefits for MasterCard holders. So Saquon in his personal bank, he has a MasterCard. And so we didn't even know until we kind of did further research, but there's some benefits like when you go to, let's say travel, for example, you can go into the, what are they called, babe?
Like the lounges and things like that.
You can go into the lounges of certain airlines and you're able to also like get discounts on certain things. So there's a lot of benefits that come with it. And MasterCard and Visa are the two major popular cards. So when we do travel outside of the country, we have our MasterCard with our money. We got ATM fees that are reimbursed. There are no foreign transaction fees with SoFi.
And the MasterCard benefits on
and you get those benefits. So that was like a really, really great one. The reason, so that, like we told you why like Discover was great as well, but why we also did the SoFi money. Was there anything I left off with that one? Oh, you can also withdraw cash from the ATM with SoFi.
Yep.
So that was
you said no foreign transaction fees.
Yep, no foreign transaction fees.
So SoFi is like,
it's our top dollar. If it would have been probably our only if they didn't drop their APY down so low.
Yeah.
So, but I think having these options is really great, and we get to kind of explore the banks, feel them out, see how they are, and just figure out what we're more comfortable with. So we'll update you guys as we use the banks and as we start combining our finances and things of that nature, and just let you know how the journey goes.
No, really, we will.
Seriously.
We will. We'll definitely have more information for you guys once we give you guys the budgeting podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, through our live, if someone annoys us enough, you will definitely hear it during the live, which I don't think will happen. But by the time our budgeting podcast come up, we're definitely going to be updating you on new things that we found and our scheme to budgeting and making these bank accounts work to our advantage.
Yeah. So yeah. Like, and it's so crazy because it's like, right now, of course, we're not married because we postponed our wedding, but it's like, we know we're going to still be married. And at this point, we would have been married. So, and we've been together for 8 years.
Yeah.
So
I kind of already feel married.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of.
So just got to do the marriage license and stuff. Yeah. And change my last name. But yeah, so let us know what you guys think. We will, like I said, update you on how the journey goes, but we want to hear your experiences. What are your thoughts? And let's go on to the next topic. So you want to do the health or the entertainment?
We can do a little quick recap, really, of the entertainment.
Okay.
What we wanted to talk about was a movie that we seen called All Day and a Night on Netflix. It was a really good movie.
It was good.
Man, we've been in Netflix heavy lately. But really, it was a good movie, and it was a while ago, so I can't remember.
It was. I was like, because, okay, guys, so quick fact. We actually recorded this podcast last week, and we had some technical difficulties, so we're recording it for you now, and it's going actually excellent.
Blame it on
the mic. What? Did you say blame it on the mic?
Okay, but all right. So anyway, though, this guy in this movie, he grew up pretty tough. He had a rough
upbringing household with his father, really stern and hard on him, and his father's mindset, it was like preparing him for the world and the streets and how rough it is out there. So his mom never wanted him to be like the dad. Dad ended up in jail, in gangs and stuff like that. And unfortunately, he did end up following his father's path and ended up in jail along with his dad.
And it kind of speaks a lesson, but it also what it did was show a good reflection of, I guess, what someone's pain could be, having that type of upbringing and seeing certain things. Also, part of it was he seen his dad actually murder someone. So, knowing that was, I guess, part of it is knowing that that's his dad and seeing something that your dad did like that, kind of push things. But the story gets a little bit deeper towards the end that you have to see. That I don't really want to give away.
We're going to probably talk about it on our live to see like who saw it so that we don't do any spoilers. But let us know, because that's like a conversation about friendships. He had friends that he grew up with since like elementary school. Yeah. And in the end, things unfolded very interestingly.
Well, even down to the guy he killed, though.
Who killed?
The guy, the main character killed to end up in jail. He kind of ended up following the same path of his dad.
Yeah.
So the person he killed at the end, though, has a tie into everything as well.
Yeah. So be careful. Choose your friends wisely.
Yes.
Choose your friends wisely.
Choose your friends wisely and choose not. I mean, I guess you don't get to choose, but be careful with the things that you do to certain people because it affects everyone. You know, you may think that you just coming up off someone, but that money that you're taking out of that person's hand could be the food for that family. And like what we just were saying with joint bank accounts and that spender could be, you know, affecting the family in harsh ways. But wherever that money's going, it, you know.
And that actually, I think, did happen, if I'm not mistaken, where he spent the money and like wasn't paying the bills for the house because he unfortunately was addicted to drugs.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of getting at. But I didn't want to spoil the whole thing.
That's not like a big part of it, but yeah. But anyway, guys, watch it. Yeah, just watch it, and then we're gonna chat and write down in the comments what your opinion was. Did you think it was a good movie? Not, and let us know what you thought about the ending.
Yes, please. And let's wrap this up with the health tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
Oh boy.
So the health tip of the week is just with everything going on right now, how to strengthen your immune system. So really, there is no cure for the coronavirus or COVID-19.
Yeah.
Right now, it's your own immune system that is fighting the virus. Yeah. It's really like with everything. It's your immune system that's taking care of the bacteria, the virus, whatever disease it is. It's your body that has the healing capacity to get rid of it. So right now, the best thing that you can do for yourself and things that we're doing for ourselves are we're making sure that we have the nutrients that our body needs for our immune system to function properly. So vitamin C, there's many studies on it and how beneficial it is in helping to increase immune function. Vitamin C is huge. Vitamin D, they're actually starting to come out with some case studies on how people with vitamin D deficiency are actually doing worse symptom-wise with COVID-19. So making sure that you have adequate vitamin D. And that's why also, even though we need to social distance and, you know, we're supposed to protect ourselves, being in the sun is very important. That is a way that your body makes vitamin D is by being out in the sunlight. So you can also supplement, and that's also fine. And then zinc. Zinc is it's actually an antiviral, and it's a needed nutrient in your body to help protect your immune system and support your immune system. So eating a healthy, like a whole food diet, that's where you're going to get most of these vitamins and nutrients. So you want to make sure that you're eating that and trying to decrease the amount of junk that you're eating because sugar and processed foods actually do the opposite. They decrease immune functioning. So not to say you can't enjoy yourself, and I know we're all home right now, probably gaining a few pounds here and there, but you want to make sure you're eating majority or at least have some of that every day in your diet so that you know that you're providing nutrients to your body. Also, I know it's easier said than done for a lot of people, but try to decrease your stress load. Stop watching the news if you have to. Just take some time, pray or meditate, do yoga, just deep breathe, or just go for a walk. Whatever it is that helps you kind of relax. If you enjoy painting, listening to music, whatever that is for you, I suggest you do that and just kind of help just relax your mind, your body, and your spirit. And that way you can also be functioning more optimally and get enough sleep as well. Yeah. Okay. So yes, get them Z's. So that's what I recommend for you guys. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice, even though I am a doctor. But this is not medical advice. You know, of course, talk to your physician, make sure it's healthy for you. Yeah. But I just wanted to say, like, what we're doing to help keep our immune system up, what my family's doing, both of our families are doing. You know, we just wanted to share that with you guys and just say how important it is for not even just right now, but in general, just to make sure your immune system is always optimal, your body's always optimal, is to do these things. So All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this podcast.
We really did. And this podcast, we don't have a power trip of the week. Go back to our last live and listen in on the power trip that we discussed. We went over a few.
Yeah, but the main power trip was my boss was flirting with me, and I told my fiance.
Yeah.
So go back and listen to that. Very interesting. And listen to
find out what I thought about that.
Yeah, and listen to the other ones too, because we kind of went off we can talk. We enjoy talking.
Yeah.
So we kind of, like you said, went into other PowerTrip podcasts, and those were pretty interesting too. So go back and comment on those too, and let us know what you guys would have done or what your thoughts were on those.
Yep. And make sure you guys follow us on our Instagram at the PowerTrip Podcast. If you want to, please email us anonymously. We would like to always have you guys' power trips as discussions on our podcast. Email us at the PowerTripPodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
If that's it.
Also, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to the channel.
With us, y'all.
Yes, and like the comment, video. Share,
everything. Yes. And we appreciate it. Love you guys. And without further ado,
that wraps it up.
Peace.
See you guys later.
All right. Bye, guys.